75, you're still absolutely at the top of your game. Can you talk us through the decision to do Copersucar with your brother Wilson? How did it come about? And, you know, it obviously didn't go as well as you'd hoped. Did you ever get offers from other teams to go back to the front of the grid? Or why did you stick with it?
It was end of 75. My brother already drove 1 year. We started the team because we always like to build the cars from, you know, I used to tune my motorcycle in Brazil. We built our own go-karts, Fórmula View. You have the prototype. We say, why not to do a Brazilian team? And we started the Brazilian team. And then end of 75, sometimes the heart, the emotion goes beyond the analytics. And it's difficult to separate when you love and you have a passion. So I'm going to do my own team. I know it's going to be tough the first 2 or 3 years. I knew it was going to be tough, but I didn't know it was going to be as tough as it was. I was expecting it to be easy, but it was very difficult. We had very good people in the beginning. At that time, any time, if you build a Formula One team, you need at least 3-4 years to get the best people behind you. Because like someone want to build a new Formula One team today, how can you go on the paddock and start hiring people? Everybody who is experienced and doing well is committed with a contract, and then you start picking up people as much as you can in 2-3 years. It was a very tough situation, but the last year we had the best team, 90-80. We had Harvey Poswaite as the chief engineer, and Adrian Newett as our junior engineer, aerodynamist. I had Peter Warr, who was my team manager from Lotus, and was sometimes life presents you surprise that you don't expect. We had the best team because a Formula One team is made by the people behind. You know, it doesn't matter the name of the team. If you have the right people, the team is going to succeed, and the right sponsorship. And in July, we were running with Skoll, but the Brazilian media, not the media for motor race, the newspaper, they are making joke with us. The Brazilian team is not going to go forward, it's not going to succeed. I lost Copersucar sponsorship because of that. And then I had the Skoll Brazil, that was owned by a Canadian group and the Brazilian group. And they really motivate to sponsor. And then I had Keck Rosberg as teammate. I mean, it was a very strong team. In July, we had the brand new car designed by Harvey, and Adrian was a fantastic car. First Grand Prix, Keck qualified 4th, and I think it was 5th or 6th, Hockenheim. We didn't do a lot of tests. And next week, the PR from Skoll called me and said, Emerson, I'm sorry to tell you, but the board, because of all the critics from the Brazilian press, we don't justify to carry on the team. We have to back off. And then I called Peter Warr, I called Keck, I said, sorry guys, you cannot continue. I was very disappointed for me because it was the dream to have a Formula One team to succeed, but it didn't happen the way you expect. It was a big effort. I had a fantastic people together. I mean, very enthusiastic people working. It was a great team. On the best, we lost the major sponsor. We could not carry on. But I enjoy, had a good memory. Second on the Brazilian Grand Prix, 1978 was a big commemoration in Brazil. The Brazilian team finished second with Brazilian driver in Brazil, but was not justified with the Brazilian media. Not the people who understand motor race. You have to accept critics on your life. We accept. They are very good, constructive critics. Like Galvão Bueno, who is broadcast for Globo. But it was tough year for us.
And did all of that criticism just suck your enthusiasm for Formula One out of you? Is that why you retired? It wasn't a case of trying to go back to the front of the grid with a different team. You just you'd had enough.
Well,
you're only 33.
By coincidence, that year, was, my opinion, the worst year of the full ground effect car. I hate to drive the full ground effect car because as fast you go into the corner, you multiply your downforce. And then you have to be brave enough to realize how much fast you can go. But when you lose the car sideways, would just, if like the skirt would hit the curb on the inside and open the gap, you lose completely the downforce. You go, I mean, sideways into the fence like you don't believe. And that was, I said, this is not correct. It's not the art of driving, but you have to have big balls, much more than a normal driver should have.
Made for Alan Jones, you could say, couldn't you?
I used to, on the grid, ask the mechanics, can you tie up my balls with the belts, please?
So it was the cars that sucked the enthusiasm out of you, not so much.
No. And then they start changing the rules. And I was already out of Fórmula 1.